hard to break the silence. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Selfa. I'm the CEO here at Tilt Institute for the Contemporary Image. It's great to see everyone here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. For those of you that are new to the organization, we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting contemporary image makers and photographers at every level in their practice through our core programs to help foster conversation, networking, learning, education, and resource sharing. We do that through our core programs, which is our exhibitions and related programming, our free youth education programs, and our resources for artists, an artist lab, as well as framing, mounting, and printing for clients. Also, we host a residency program every year. So if you haven't yet joined our newsletter, please do to keep up to date with what we have going on. I'm very excited to be hosting today. This has been a year and a half, maybe 2 years in the making of a project, Wherever There Is Light. And so hopefully you get a chance to see the show in case you weren't here on Thursday. After the talk, we can. So I'm going to turn it over to Melanee, but a couple of things, just some housekeeping. We are recording so that we can share this panel asynchronously later, just to be aware of that. If you do need to use the restrooms are down the hall, but I ask that you leave through our front doors and go around to the main building doors, just because we don't want to obscure the videotaping. And I also am going to kindly ask everyone to silence or turn your phones off, so we have a nice, quiet atmosphere for conversation. I want to thank the entire TILT team and trustees for everything that they've done to make this project happen. I need to thank Larry Cook, the lead artist, and Dr. Melanee Harvey, the curator, and all the artists, both the LA cohort who traveled so far to be with us here this weekend, as well as the Philadelphia cohort, who you'll be introduced to now. So I'm going to turn it over to Melanee. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. As Sarah said, I'm Melanee Harvey, and I had the honor of spending a year with this group of artists and curating this exhibition. Wherever There Is Light is the product of my partner, Larry Cook's social practice. And so this is really a historic conversation that we're having for the first time, bringing both cohorts, the LA cohort and the Philadelphia cohort, together to share their story with how they approach the camera and what they do in terms of social engagement with photography. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn to our first artist, the lead artist of this project, Larry Cook.
Hello, can you guys see me okay? Again, I want to thank the team at Tilt. Also want to thank, Dr. Harvey. Also want to get a shout out to Ian, Mai, and Eddie Arena,
two photographers from the LA cohort who's not able to be with us today. So also just want to take a moment to thank the photographers. It's been such an amazing journey, starting in LA and then bringing this project here to Philly. It's been transformative, hearing your stories, the conversations and dialogues we've engaged with. And just thank you for trusting me and committing to this project. And hope this is just a start of a great collaboration and continuing to build this community and support each other as we move forward as artists. So I want to talk about this piece here. So this work is part of a series titled When Dad Comes Home, which features my two uncles, Andre Cook Sr. and Almonte Postel, who were formerly incarcerated. Their incarceration had a profound impact on my family, and more specifically, my cousins. The title comes from this longing for life after incarceration, their dreams of reuniting with their dad and bringing our family back together. This triptych includes snapshots from my uncle's personal photo albums. And the note in the middle reads, "To Donnie, the fat boy, I love you, bro. Keep your head up. We will see the outside and do it like old times. From your little brother, Big Al, the dark side." This juxtaposition speaks to the importance of brotherhood and maintaining those relationships, which is vital to the survival of those in this environment. My Uncle Al passed away in 2016, and Big Donnie passed in 2021. Before they passed, we had conversations about how we could help those who were incarcerated and those re-entering society. So this project is my way of honoring their legacy and the love and inspiration they gave me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Larry. And so our next artist will be Adamu Chan.
Thanks for having me. I want to give a shout out to Eddie Harena, who was part of the LA cohort, and a friend of mine who's not here for personal reasons. And yeah, just want to acknowledge that he's not here. How I got into, not necessarily photography, but media in general is, I think, when I think back, I started when I was a kid. My grandmother had a tape recorder, and I used to record my voice and do radio shows. And as a child, feeling silenced, it was really powerful for me to kind of hear my voice reflected back to me and hear my own voice and I guess be able to communicate to myself in that way. When I was in high school, in my public high school, I took a photography class, and I used to take pictures of my friends. And we were all young black men who were seen as dangerous in the community or as surplus. And it was a way of me capturing them as I saw them and as I wanted them to see themselves. And one of my friends recently told me that a picture that I took of him in the 90s when we were in high school, he still has in his house. So I thought that was precious. This photo right here is from a film that I produced last year that just broadcast nationally on PBS called What These Walls Won't Hold. And it's about my time being incarcerated in San Quentin during the COVID pandemic. And the community that I was a part of and the relationships that I had there. And I remember before, I learned filmmaking while I was in San Quentin. And when I first got there, before I ever picked up a video camera, a friend of mine had done a video that I saw playing on the closed circuit television inside of San Quentin that was about all the beautiful places in San Quentin that we kind of miss when we see this like huge sprawling prison and all of the ugly things that are there, but all the small beautiful things, and that really touched me. And when I made this film, and the work that I try to do now is really to reflect back to us like the ways in which like we see each other, the ways in which like when we're close to people, like the ways in which we see them, and how important that is to like remind each other that we're not seen as I think there's a way in which you perceive yourself by how, like, the things that you receive. And like when you're in society and it seems like systems and structures are organized for your destruction, that's a way of perceiving yourself. And it's important to remind yourself that you're worthy of love and that you, there's goodness there, so.
Thank you. The next artist we will be hearing from is Jonathan Chu.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Chu. I was incarcerated at San Quentin along with Adamu and Javier and Eddie. And I want to thank Eddie because he's the reason why we're all here. He's the one that connected us to Larry. And thank you, Larry, and everybody at Tilt for doing this. So this photo is the self-portrait that we did for that cohort. And I would say I'm also very horrible with selfies. I've never done a selfie, and this is the only selfie I've ever done in my life that can actually show the people. And I want to say photography has always been in my life. I've kind of wanted to be an artist, and when we're locked up, it's kind of hard to, in a sense, find yourself. You get lost in the system, and you really don't know who you are. You're just known by a number, you're known by a crime, and at San Quentin we were able to find all that and become, the artists. For Eddie and Javier, they're photographers. They're just working for the newspaper, and when they came home, they were still photographers. So they transcended beyond the prison system and became the artists that they are. And same with Adamu. Adamu is a filmmaker. He became a filmmaker inside and became a filmmaker out here. So I feel like that's, for us, we were able to transcend just the criminal justice system and, leave our past, the number, the crime, all that behind. The reason I took that is that those are my prison IDs, and the last one is the first ID when I took out when I came home, and those were they had to I had to take those pictures, right? I didn't really have a choice in the matter of you had to take the picture because you're in prison or you have a driver's license. I can't turn my back, and I felt like this is the only time I've had control about my life, about what I can do and who I can be. So. Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan. And this work really kind of has great synergy with some of the work from the Philadelphia cohort, so it's really exciting to get your explanation. The next artist we'll bring up is Javier Jimenez. Hi.
So first of all, thank you for having me. My name is Javier. I love photography. It's a passion of mine. It's always been. I think I tell everybody it's like my zen spot. When I'm behind that camera, it feels great. And San Quentin was pivotal to reintroduce it to me. I grew up a dumb kid trying to have fun instead of everything else. And I was always passionate about photography, but San Quentin brought it back to me. And I'm grateful for that. The picture here that you guys have is also from the LA show with Larry. Thank you for that. It was an eye-opener for me, honestly. I've never really cared to take pictures of myself. I always take pictures of other people. And at this particular place, we were assisted by two other gentlemen, and they made me feel so comfortable. They were looking for something a little bit wild, and I was like, all right, well, what y'all want? Y'all want wild? I'm gonna get naked. And they was like, hey, that's what we looking for. So I felt like, I released. It gave me a chance to release, and in doing so, the lighting, everything was going bad. The lighting was messing up. It was like my life. When you're trying to do right, something always happened bad. And we ended up getting the light with a flashlight, a little tiny flashlight that they had. And when I seen it, we did a few of them. And this one I liked because it was kind of what I was trying to tell everybody, right? I got this evil tattoo on my back, and it just is what it is. I was an evil part of my life in the moment. And I figured, I want to turn my back to where I was and what I was doing, and go towards the light, which is in front of me. I always did the side up, and there was a flag on the bottom. You really couldn't see it though, just because of my heritage, and it's been so prominent in my life. Caused a lot of issues because the way I look and the way I am. But this particular photo, like I said, it gave me a chance to turn my back on the reality that I had, and I know that, whatever you believe in, the devil or whatever evil energy, bad energy, whatever it is, I always know it's lurking in the shadows. So when the little devil popped up in the shadow, I was like, that's awesome. I know he's always there, but the light is always gonna keep him away from me, you know, and I'm always gonna try to go there. And I wanted to bring photos of like yard stuff, but with the name of the show, you know, wherever there's light, and the meaning of the photo to me, I think it just really like, it signifies something for me. So I wanted to do that. And every time I like start, I mean, cause you know, life is hard. Life is real hard, and it's a constant struggle. And it's a constant struggle, I don't want to say between good and evil, but between easy and not easy. So this pretty much signifies that for me. And every time I start backtracking, I look at it, and it reminds me. So yeah, that's why it's important to me. And again, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next artist will be the first artist we will hear from the Philadelphia Cohort, and it's Jose Diaz.
All right. Yeah, thank you guys for coming. And yeah, what you guys really spoke about is really, really, really great. Definitely thinking about like the IDs, the notion of turning your back on a thing, and also very much thinking about like Akil's work and how there are potential dangers still in front of us. And this, for me, this particular photo, actually, I was incarcerated, I think, was it last year? And got out, you know, and this is a visit photo. My partner, she decided to document the whole journey, and I was able to kind of like produce like a short film, and when everything opens back up, it'll be there, you'll hear it. And I didn't know about what she was documenting at all. It was just nothing. So everything that's there is like her own thoughts about what it would feel like for me to be gone. And it was something that more often than not that we're not contemplating the effects of the family, and you know, just coming out and recently just finding out about it, like maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, damn, I didn't know that. She's like, I don't tell you things. But no, but she doesn't even speak like that. But yeah, that's what that photo really was, and really thinking about the places or spaces that we end up inhabiting, and finding myself doing this show and really looking at the lens and photography as a big space of insecurity, and questioning yourself whether you can measure up to what it is that you're actually doing it. And then, you know, I can imagine it kind of maybe not this analogy, like it feels like, you know, if I'm LeBron James dunking, like, you know, in a sense of like, am I really that good? Am I living up to this hype of what you're defining it as? And, you know, when you think about the process of putting together a photo and how it's just an extension of myself and my thoughts, and, you know, it just being vulnerable, it's like kind of like that part of anxiety, that kind of space that you live to. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
Well, thank you, Jose. That's helpful. I think you also allowed us to think through the range of technologies that you all are navigating. All right, our next artist is Don Jones.
Good afternoon. I started touring photography inside the institution as a product of my organization, you know, and I instantly fell in love with it. You know, it gave me the opportunity to take pictures of my friends and loved ones that they can share, and they'll be here long after we're all gone. This picture here is very, very significant to me. You know, that's Sharif. That's like my big brother / father figure / chief mentor, you know, and being incarcerated 30 years for a crime he didn't commit. And I know because I was there that night. You know, it baffles me why he's still in prison. Not guilty of a gun, no co-defendant. They say he never had the gun, but how did I kill somebody then? The shit, it don't make no sense, you know. And a big part of my life now is fighting to get him out. You know, he's mentoring Meek Mills, Ving Rhames. You know, I got other pictures on my phone of them guys visiting him, trying to help him get out. You know, Wallow 215, Gilly, the whole gambling, man. And, next to him is his nephew Tyrese, who I got pictures of. He's a baby, coming to visit his uncle, me and his uncle inside the institution, and on his way to college. In his picture, he's 17. Started college that year. Was gunned down and murdered. Mistaken identity in South Philadelphia on his way on my doorsteps. Had a full ride going to North Carolina State. So like this picture I look at a lot, quite often. That's why it's so important to me. But photography allowed, without this pictures and this photography, it's just been a memory in my brain. So having the physical picture of it means a lot to me. And I want to thank Tilt, I want to thank Larry, I want to thank everyone, Melanee, everyone involved in this, for allowing me to be a part of it. And Akil actually called me and connected me with Larry. So thank you, Akil. To my brothers from LA, I'll be out there sometime in the next 2 months. Definitely looking y'all up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Don, for that reflection. The next artist we'll hear from is Akil Robertson.
Thank you. So first of all, thank you, Larry. Really appreciate you including me in this project, and also thank you to Ike. Ike actually is the one who allowed me to become a photographer. When I was a young artist inside, Ike was on his way out, and he asked me did I want a camera. I think he was doing it because he ain't want his homies to like beef about getting the camera, so he like, all right, let me pick somebody who they ain't going, you know what I mean? Like, nobody mad at Kill, so I'm gonna give it to him. So, like, this photo is of my friend Vern, his mother Cookie, and his grandson Liam. And when we first got to Phoenix, and I was given a photography job, I was just amazed by the different atmosphere in the visiting room. Like, the prison is a place of tension, but out here you have women, you have children, and it was really a place which filled me with so much light, right? And Vern and his family, they never, you're supposed to buy photo tickets on commissary. Vern wasn't getting into all that. So he had his family like feed me, and I had so much food from Vern and his family, and I would give them unlimited pictures, right? And the photo on the left is, I think, really a break from traditional visiting room photos. You usually see folks on that background. It's kind of, the photographer is lower, and the folks are centered. It's the static pose. And here I kind of like moved to the left a little bit and took this photo of Vern, and Liam is moving, and Cookie is kind of like off to the right. And it's a different look. And so the photo on the right, I was trying to like get to know Liam because, it's a child. I'm like, I want a little child friend, I want to be close to children. I want to know what that feels like again, right? And Vern was like, and the family was so kind enough to let me be in his life. And he was not trying to have it. He was like, I'm not. Like, who are you? Like, what's up with you? Like, I'm not getting into that. And I pulled out a bag of, I think it was a bag of Lay's chips. He was like, oh, all right, okay. Maybe now we could be cool, And Vern's, I think, daughter snapped that picture. So yeah, these photos really mean a lot to me. They're emblematic of the different space and how I came to photography. And I remember those moments always when I'm gifted and have the pleasure of recording moments for others. So this is my beginning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the final artist we will hear from is Vernon Ray.
Appreciate you. Whew. Time is it? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I knew it was going to happen. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Pleasure. I'm happy to be here. Just want to thank everybody that had all the action of getting us involved with this, man. I appreciate y'all so much. So much. Akil, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I started off as an artist first. Photography came a little later for me. And once I really got involved in understanding it, it just was something that you couldn't help but to fall in love with. I told somebody at the art show the other day, I said, man, I felt like a magician a little bit, because when you snap and capture a moment that you can't get back, it's like a superpower in a sense. And I look at it like, man, like I'm out here really capturing moments. I love to capture moments. Family events, I'm running around with the phone. You know, once I finally got my camera, you couldn't tell me nothing. Everybody was getting a picture. You get a picture, you get a picture, you get a picture. Didn't matter what you was doing. And we didn't have Photoshop like that, or at least I didn't know how to work it. I just was making sure that I was capturing that moment. And it felt so good to me. It was so fulfilling in a way that it just was life-changing. The picture that you see behind me, as time went forward, I started to find myself in a position to teach a lot. And this right here was one of our most pivotal photo walks that we had, my partner and I. He's standing right next to me. He's my brother, big smiles. And a lot of them folks, some of them folks actually are formerly incarcerated individuals. And they all were just trying to find a way. I said, you know what? Let's walk around the city. We created a date, started to walk. We met up downtown, and we walked through the process, man. I just showed them how to just be in love with it. Don't be so technical with it. Find your way that feels good. Capture things that make you happy. And this was our first shoot cameras, not guns photo walk. Because a lot of us were suffering from being impacted by gun violence in our neighborhoods. And I always would think to myself, I said, man, listen, we already have the influence. We already doing the work. We got to put a name behind it. And I did it in a way where I tried to encourage people to do something. Because no matter what's happening around, you can do something towards the cause of making our neighborhoods better, being able to, you know, put some sort of positive action and have a conversation. Just grab somebody by the hand and pull them out of the mess. We got to all be able to find that peace in us, to love our community enough, love our people enough to just do something. And this was that. This was me and my brother doing something. And that's really all I got to say, y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Bernie. So now we'll ask all of the artists to come on up with your chairs. And we are going to open the floor for Q&A. But as we're making this transition, I thought it's actually really fitting that we ended with Vernon, because you gave us words to kind of illuminate how this exhibition really is a testament that the camera, the photographic lens, really is a liberation tool. And so with that in mind.
You're welcome moving to front.
Oh, okay. All right. We're moving on up. I open the floor for Q&A. Does anyone have any questions for our artist?
Somebody got the one that knows something.
Don't be shy.
I guess my question is more or less, will this be going to other states, this project right here? Can you like talk about the work and like how you plan on expanding it?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're looking to partner with Howard University as the next place to potentially bring the show, also NYU as well. So those are some of the considerations in terms of where we'll take it next. In terms of like developing it further, my goal was always to do iterations in different cities as a way to continue to kind of build and develop this community. So I haven't got a chance to really kind of settle down and think forward in terms of, you know, the next step. But I mean, we've done such a great job with this project, and I want to be able to give it more life and continue to show it, exhibit the work, and push it forward. Yeah.
Are prisons more open to photographs than other art? Is it easier to do this?
says, are prisons more open to photographs than other arts?
When I was upstate, I didn't get into the photography side of it just yet. I didn't know how to. I would see it and just always wondered how to get a camera or be involved in that capacity. So on my side, I just started with just the art in itself. You know, I love to draw. I love to do portraits and paint things like that. And that was the easiest route in for me to just be able to express myself creatively. So anybody that was taking photos in prison, you want to go ahead?
I was going to say that for me, photography was a bit of an outlier as an institutional practice. I would say that, like, on the whole, most institutions that I've been to have had some sort of visiting room photography element. But to have photography be a part of a job system where folks were doing the job within the institution, like the video program in St. Quentin, like the video program at Graterford, like the photography program at Graterford, we had access to cameras. We could pretty much like take a photo anytime, you know, like if there was an impromptu moment and some special visitors would come in, I could be like, yo, like I'm gonna go get the camera. And then things just happen. And you're like, how did you do that? But you know, I think on the whole, the arts that you like commonly find in prison are more drawing and painting and craft based.
Yeah, I was just gonna add to that you know, prisons function on disappearing people and making what happens inside a prison invisible. And so this is not the norm, like that people would get into photography inside of a prison. I think we were in institutions where this kind of work is used by the state to promote an idea of rehabilitation, which of course benefits the state. And so I think all of us recognize that we were in specific positions of privilege within the prison system. Like we were in the 0.0001% that everybody doesn't have access to these types of things. The fact that I was able to have a video camera inside of a prison that's unheard of anywhere, maybe in the whole world. And so for me, I'll just say for myself specifically, I understood that privilege and that also there's a responsibility in that I represent other people who don't have access to these types of things. So this is not the norm. And just like Keel said, most people are expressing themselves through the things that are more readily available to them, like letter writing, drawing, music, those types of things. It's not this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So I was incarcerated in New York State, and we had access to none of this while we were there. And especially like being able to do like the visit room pictures, that's a place of contention. I was fortunate years later that my boy did it, and I used to lift a lot more weights back then. So I got the clicks. And it was good because I'm always like equitable and people feed you, they show love. And I remember the first time I saw a little girl, and I was like, oh, that's a person. It's been like 8-9 years I haven't been around kids or even on the visit floor as of that. But yeah, definitely, it's definitely a privilege in most cases. And for me, my artistic outlet was crocheting. I was able to create and do things and make gifts for people, and even thinking about texture and artwork and stuff like that. How can we maybe add that into the work that we do? But yeah.
I had another question, if possible. My question is with the Okay, my other question is this. Are you considering also having people on the inside take part in an upcoming exhibit where, I mean, even if you have all these gentlemen on stage, but them offering people that would be really good to have in a show, because I seen what you guys did. Yeah, made this space look beautiful. And I see that there's pictures of families, there's people that are inside, that are incorporated into this whole project. I know with Akil, he went to so many different places with his work because I was present. But I think too, just having an exhibit, you're talking about where there is light, and there's a lot of darkness being in a prison, but there's so much light and a lot of people that are still there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of different ideas. I think that is like a natural, progression. Because, really being inspired by the visiting room and kind of that vernacular aesthetic, and wanting to kind of shed light to the photographers that are often anonymous. But another side of that is the artists that create the murals for the visiting room, and thinking about that in a larger context of contemporary art and wanting them to be included as well. As part of an exhibition that also inspired this project, Marking Time, curated by Dr. Nicole Fleetwood, and bringing together, photographers, artists that are currently incarcerated, formerly incarcerated, and making work around those themes, bringing that community, to me was really important. So yeah, I think I would like to try to, kind of create something similar in a sense, but I do see it as a natural progression eventually. Yeah.
Thank you all. My question is for those like artists and photographers that turn the lens back on themselves, for those of you that took self-portraits. I'm interested in just this, I think you said a year or a year and a half of collaboration between all of you, all the conversations that you had. If there was something that you learned about yourself in those moments of turning the lens sort of towards you, and maybe even extending to like a perspective shift that you had like inside this project, but also personally.
I think it didn't really hit me. Well, I in my particular, I turned the lens to myself from the neck up because I'm not feeling too good down here. But no, definitely, turning the camera back to myself at the moment didn't mean anything. It wasn't until, matter of fact, what was it, like the other day when when we were doing the interviews? 5 o'clock in the morning, we're here with the CBS lady and asking the question, well, what does this art mean to you? And looking how Melanee was able to kind of like curate the show. And I never really looked at the work, and then I thought about the words in the work and what that began to, I guess, unfold to me or reveal to me as I began to explain what it meant. And so I guess at that moment, is where I would say that the final product itself was revealing something about maybe my artistic eye that may be there, and much like what I was saying, it's like there's a certain level of, I guess, vulnerability there because you're trusting and hoping that, what you're trying to produce is readable to folks who are seeing it. Can I jump across?
So for me, the work started out as self-portraiture, and the way that I was imagining I would wear blues and photograph myself in these various locations. But then I began to think about the vulnerability of my current situation on parole. It's taboo to talk about being on parole. Like, nobody wants to expose that vulnerability and let people know, oh, you can easily jam me up and send me back if you have any grievance with me, right? And so for me, it was like kind of self-serving because I'm like, if I tell everybody I'm on parole, some shit happened, like then everybody will be like, yo, what's going on with him? Like, why is he getting like jammed up? Like, investigate, whatever the hell happened. But beyond that, like, there's a larger conversation around why, as a society, we've seen fit to allow people who have served their time to be continually subject to recall pretty much at any given time, and then their time not credited and sentences extended indefinitely, right? You have an example of, what happened to Meek Mill, the huge movement that was undertaken to get him out of prison, but these things happen every day. So many people face these same consequences. We aren't having a larger conversation about it. It is one of the things in the United States which we've accepted to be just a part of, our criminal justice system. In California, people do 25 to life, 5 years, they get off parole. In Pennsylvania, a lot of our guys are on lifetime parole. That makes absolutely no sense. They're paying supervision fees every month. They're literally the engine which is keeping the Pennsylvania criminal justice system moving. And there's 300,000 people that are, criminal justice affected in Philadelphia, and tens of thousands of people on probation and parole, right? They account for about 40% of the people in the county jail. Most of them have committed no crime. Like, what is going on? This is part of a larger conversation that I just want to develop and have, and really just get the anxiety off of myself. And so self-portraiture to the extent that it's extremely personal, it's vulnerable, and I'm just trying to bring that conversation out of the dark.
Hey guys, it's me again. Man, when we think about self-portraiture, when I was taking my photos, man, like he said, you gotta be very vulnerable with yourself, because to see yourself as you are is a hard thing, because who you think you are, who you actually are, yeah, that might be two different people. You know what I mean? So first thing I seen, and I can agree with you, man, I was like, I'm a little bit heavier than I thought I was. Yeah, this is not all muscle. That's what it was feeling like. Yeah, let me hold my stomach in. That's what it started to feel like. But I'm telling you, one thing it did show me was a zoomed out version of where I come from to where I'm going, right? I was able to zoom out a bit. I'm like, oh, dang, I was there. I did do that. I was that person. You know what I'm saying? And then it gave me a sense of understanding that, this journey I'm on, it has this purpose, because a lot of things are aligning and they just connecting somehow, some way. You don't really see it when you're on the path. You just whistling and just looking left and right, just doing your thing. You don't even realize what's actually happening. But to be able, like I said before, to be able to see myself in this way, it really opened my eyes up to be able to understand this amazing path that I'm on, understanding where I come from, and just it gave me a sense of being able to believe in myself a little more too. So understanding it was something better for me to come. That's all.
So I think everybody here mentioned the word vulnerability and opening up, basically. So in my self-portrait, that's what it did for me. It showed me that you have to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is it's a hard thing to allow somebody to see, and if you don't, then you're never really gonna know what life is. You don't let yourself be vulnerable, you're not gonna enjoy life. And I think a lot of us, we never showed our vulnerability, and that's probably why we ended up in the situation we in, or we chose to live life the way we chose to live it. So I think that's the main takeaway. I think for a lot of us is being vulnerable. That if taking a picture of yourself allows you to see that, I think that's an amazing thing. I think everybody should take a picture of themselves. So yeah, I think that's the main thing for me. I'm hearing everybody saying vulnerability, so.
I think doing personal work is an act of self-determination, because I think for most of us growing up in this country, there was a story already written about you before you even formed your own consciousness about who you were. And being in the system is about somebody else writing your story for you and giving you a number. And you carrying that with you wherever you go, even when you're on parole, and creating a personal
work of art about yourself is about taking that back and about presenting yourself in the way that you want to, and that you see fit. So.
I had one more. Well, I wanted to know also, like, how has this work inspired you guys for any upcoming projects? And then also, if you guys have any upcoming projects, where can we find it at? Go ahead.
So, thank you. So for me, yeah, I want to continue to investigate the color codedness of prison. So I've chosen the palette of blue for a number of reasons, but it's also the color that parole violators wear in Pennsylvania. It's a uniform that a lot of people wear throughout the United States. In the California Correctional Facility, upstate, people wear blues. But if you think about it, there's also a hierarchical component to the color codedness of prison. So at the bottom are new commits who in Pennsylvania wear yellow jumpsuits or orange jumpsuits when they come in the county and upstate. And blues are worn by folks in the county jail who are pretrial commits and usually don't have a lot of rights because of the fact that they're moving in and through this place and don't have the ability to advocate for themselves effectively. They don't have any long-term relationship with the guards and administration, and so aren't given a lot of agency. Then blues are also parole violators. They're at the bottom of the food chain pretty much. In the upstate, prison economy, these are people that have violated parole. They're looked at as being morally corrupt because of the fact that they've come back to jail. And that's the reason why I chose, kind of blue for this project. And then at the top are people who are in browns. So in Pennsylvania, these are the people that are in population and have the most, I guess, rights, as it were. And so I really began to think about like how in our American system or pretty much the Western Hemisphere, we have this idea of color, and each range of color gives you more and more privilege or less and less privilege. And so for me, I want to continue to investigate and expand upon the idea of the color palettes and work with them continuously. I've already started working through it in the studio. And what's next for me? I'm currently creative director of the Greater Ford Archive, which is a project to tell. Appreciate you. It's a project to tell the history of the prison where I spent most of my time. Where I met Ike, who was then the NAACP president. It's a 3-year project where we'll be creating a digital archive, hopefully 250 interviews at Haverford College, and really trying to engage the entire Philadelphia community to have a larger discussion around, why this prison is what it is. Obviously, it's only a 10th, if not less, or maybe 1,000th of a percent of, what prisons are, largely because of its proximity to Philadelphia and the fact that it sits in this larger history of where prisons come from. First prison was made here in 1790 as an experiment on penal reform, is a conversion from the Walney Street Jail, which was actually built in 1776. So prisons are endemic to Philadelphia. They were created in Philadelphia and then exported throughout the world. The prisons that you see throughout this globe are carbon copies of Eastern State, Greater Ford, and Walnut Street Prison. And so want to tell that history, connect it, and really, connect with my brothers all across the country. I'm really incredibly interested in forming partnerships so that incarcerated people can tell their own stories. I really appreciate working with brothers like Larry, working with Tilt, but there are a number of people who are helping to tell our stories that don't have the same magnanimous ideas about how to do so and don't want to bring us in the same way. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Oh, excuse me. She's trying to get a raise, y'all. I'm on Instagram at akill.r, so check me out there. I'm rebuilding my website right now, but yeah, Instagram.
So currently, I grew up in Oakland, first of all. I'm not from LA. And in Oakland, everybody was an artist. You was either a rapper, or you was a dancer, you was something. Everybody has some type of creative, artistic something going on. Well, I didn't have all that. I was just a little bad kid trying to do bad things. And I know a lot of people that I grew up with, they were really heavy into graffiti, so I kind of hung around them a lot, and a lot of graffiti artists, they still do it. They still do it. So I'm trying to collaborate with them. I got three in particular friends that are about 50 years old, and they've been doing graffiti since the early 80s. And I've been talking with them, so I want to get a project going in the community in Oakland to just hype up art in general, because I think in the street a lot of people lose their way. You might have a artistic interest and somehow you just drift off of that. So right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to just put an influence for Bay Area graffiti artists is where we're starting, because that's where I could get my hands into right now. But from there I want to expand, because it's somebody, they know somebody, and I'm just trying to spread the word as far as getting mostly youth, because I don't really want to, I don't want nobody to get lost how I got lost. And if you can shine a little bit of light and keep people interested in their artistic just expression, right? Everybody needs to express themselves. I think that's what I'm doing right now. It's just the beginning of the work, so I'm just trying to collaborate with everybody, and it's just a big talk. So it'll be coming though.
I'm currently not doing any art projects. I've been really, really busy doing violent prevention work in Philadelphia. I'm director of the biggest violent interruption group in the state. So most of my time is spent in that atmosphere, working with average youth, working at guys who actually carry the guns, guys actually doing the shootings. We out 7 days a week till 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to bring this crime rate down in Philadelphia. So that been my primary focus. This was a great experience. It gave me a break, kind of a break to get back into doing some photography. But my primary goal right now is trying to save the people in our city from this gun violence. So that's been my primary focus. But I definitely will be looking forward to working with Akil and other artists, trying to bring those young guys into photography, find out what their creative ability is, and getting to work on that. I know a lot of them like to rap, so I got some studios that I hooked them up with, but definitely some might be interested in photography or drawing. So I definitely be looking to partner to create those programs for our average youth in the city.
Well, I might got the answer for you, man. Cause yeah, man. So one of the things that we have coming up is we created this special for the city and people that have their own businesses and just people who value creating content, right? Came up with this special. It's called 40 shots for $40, right? 20 headshots, 24 body shots, and basically within a 15-minute session, you get your photos the same day. Right, these are $450 photo shoots that we actually give away for $40, right? And this is just to help stimulate the entrepreneurial community and individuals who utilize headshots, full body shots for all their marketing and promotional needs. It's not favorable in the community, like you would think. I mean, in the photography community, because it kind of chops down everybody and undercuts everybody. However, it's for an amazing cause, because everybody can afford to spend these large dollars on maintaining their business while this high demand of content is right in front of us, right or wrong. Y'all can speak back, that's okay. It's totally fine. So what we do, when we run that program, when we run that special, we teach first the youth. Most of the people that are directly impacted through gun violence, they come through as mentees. They learn the trade, they understand how we set up our photo shoots, the headshots. We do amazing headshot setups and all of those different things. They learn those things, and then we eventually hire them, give them a job opportunity. So I can really see how all of us can collectively make something happen. And again, putting this all together like this, look at the dots connecting, y'all. Y'all see that? It's an amazing situation. So that's what I have coming up. You can find me on Instagram at All Money Shots if you ever were interested to look and see All Money Shots, because that's all we giving up. You know what I mean? We say all money shots or nothing. That's it. But yeah, man, check us out though. Check us out. Don't just, really tap into y'all phones when y'all get a moment and really follow and see the stuff that we got going on. But I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of y'all moving forward and building a great relationship with y'all. And that's it. I'm gonna pass the mic again.
Wow, I was featuring the artist, Larry. Wow. So in the spring, I will be curating a show of Gordon Parks' religious photography at Howard University. And it'll have an edited volume as well. So that is what, as soon as this wraps up, I'll be putting all of my energy into.
I do want to provide some context. So we refer to them as the LA Cohort, not because they are from LA, but the project and exhibition was at the Canary Test in Los Angeles. So what's next for me, I'm a current Gordon Parks Fellow. Thank you. So for this fellowship, I'm working on an exhibition. So I'm shooting landscapes near prisons, and specifically the prisons in which my uncles were incarcerated. So one, it's a way to pay homage to them, but also thinking about landscape as a metaphor for freedom and the challenges of reentry. So this project and working with these photographers is deeply informed that work as well. So hopefully it'll open sometime in the spring of 2025 or maybe fall of 2025. Yep.
I don't actually have anything upcoming, I guess. I've just been taking pictures around the city for the last couple of days, and yeah, I sent them back to my friends who's currently still incarcerated, because I've been privileged to be be free and at home, and while my friends are still incarcerated, I feel like they don't have a chance to come out and explore the world, and I feel like if I can just help them and see what the world looks like, I think that's yeah.
I have a film that is on PBS right now. If you go on pbs.org or the PBS Passport app, it's called What These Walls Won't Hold. And take a look. It's a beautiful film. And thank you. Yeah, I just continuing to work on films about not just this community, but people that are close to me and the communities that are close to me. That's it.
So for myself, like doing like this self-portrait thing was something like completely new, and having the opportunity to do that's been great. My entry into the art world was through the academic space. And I started getting my college degree back in 2009 when I was in Auburn Correctional Facility, and then didn't get any degrees while I was inside because the system's very tumultuous, and you get transferred. But eventually I got out, got my bachelor's, my master's at NYU, and right now, thank you. Right now, I'm currently a doctoral student at the University of Miami. So that's like really been my main focus. What I want to do with the artwork is really kind of like explore textures and thinking about how I'm working with like that collage work. Before that, I was doing like a lot of like event photography, because I also do like a lot of grassroots organizing, community work, and just really kind of documenting like other folks besides myself who are doing the work, don't get the recognition, and kind of like looking at like their journey and what they go through. And outside of that, I don't have nothing on show, but what will be working on academically was like even me getting all these degrees, and now that I relocated to a new state, it's a red state, it's Florida. So how do those degrees like transfer to actual gainful employment, and how does that differ from state to state, and what is like the efficacy of college degree granting programs in prison. So that's what I'll be exploring. Hopefully, I'll be Dr. Fat Artist in a few years. All right, let me see.
As we conclude, I do want to shout out a few people. Anissa, if you can raise your hand, the project manager. James Britt, where's James? Hey, James, co-curator. We do have a publication that's being produced and it'll be released in November, so we'll have another event. So please come back out and check that out as well. Again, I want to thank you all for coming out. Thank all of the artists. This is just the beginning, so please give it up to the artists one more time. Thank you, guys.